Hi, my name is Rachel Nightingale and I am a barrister at Edwards Law based in our Auckland office. During this vlog, I'm going to talk you through suspending an employee in a disciplinary context and the issues employers can run into when undertaking this process. Although suspending an employee can seem like a minor fragment in the disciplinary process, getting this wrong could have serious consequences. The first thing to think about when you are considering whether to suspend an employee is whether you actually have the right to suspend. The right to suspend an employee is generally a contractual term in the employee's employment agreement. You may also have the right to suspend pursuant to a company policy. Always check to see if you have the right to suspend and whether these provisions impose any restrictions or requirements on you when undertaking this process. If you do not have a contractual right to suspend, it is really in only very limited circumstances that you would be able to lawfully suspend an employee. Once you have determined that you have a contractual right to suspend, you then need to ensure that you have a good reason to suspend this employee. Simply because you suspect an employee may have done something that could constitute serious misconduct does not necessarily mean that suspension is warranted. There must be a link between the allegations against the employee and the need to remove them from the workplace. If you have a good reason to remove the employee from the workplace, you must then undertake the suspension process in a procedurally fair way. In particular, you will need to advise the employee of the reasons for the proposed suspension, basically setting out what the employee has alleged to have done and why you believe suspension may be necessary. It is crucial that the suspension is presented as a proposal in which the employee has an opportunity to comment on the proposal to suspend and seek advice on this. The employee should then be given some time to give feedback before a final decision is made. We usually recommend that the employee is given a couple of hours to call a support person and put together their feedback. If the employee requests more time, in good faith you should consider this. Once the employee has had an opportunity to respond to the proposal, you will then need to take time to consider the employee's feedback. Following this, you can then confirm that you have considered the employee's responses and that in your view, suspension is warranted. We would recommend at least a couple of hours are given to consider the employee's feedback before a decision is made. This will obviously depend on the level of feedback given by the employee. If they have no feedback, you could confirm the suspension in a more timely manner. It is important that you get this process right, because if an employer breaches their legal obligations when suspending an employee by either suspending without just cause or failing to follow a proper process, they are susceptible to a potential unjustified disadvantage personal grievance. This could end up being extremely costly for your business. If you're an employer that needs help suspending an employee, we can ensure that your communication with any employees is framed appropriately and that the process is followed correctly. We can also assist you throughout any subsequent disciplinary process. We can make sure that you undertake this process correctly. If you are an employee who is being suspended, we can advocate strongly on your behalf, putting your responses to your employer in the best way possible. We can work with you to assess alternatives to suspension and assist you throughout any subsequent disciplinary process. If you need help or representation, please get in touch today.